What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
Rearranging my iPad so I have a strictly Formula One home screen, and I'm adding some box widgets. Plug. And just like my widgets are rearranging themselves. It's a stupid thing on the iPad that Apple makes it do, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, now I'm just adding. I'm adding drivers and constructors championships widgets, because although we have the one figured out, we
not the rest.
Have the constructors. So I'm adding that.
You know what? I'm also shocked. How I said I'm wearing my hockey jersey. I'm shocked you didn't wear. And I said shocked you're not wearing your jersey. You could have worn your Max jersey.
I had thought about putting that one on. I had thought about that. But once I sat down in this chair, I was not getting back up again. So
no.
But hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 87 of the F1 Underground podcast. We are 13, I guess maybe 12 if you don't count this episode, or if you do count this episode, away from 100. Which is weird to think that we've almost been doing this for 100 episodes so far, but kind of cool. My name, if you're new here, my name is Owen. Casey. We love F1. We sit down every week. We record on Tuesdays. Pretty much episodes are always uploaded by the following Thursday. Yeah, that's pretty much the show, honestly.
That is the show. That's the show within the show.
That's the show right there. Along with that, talking about F1 news, you get your just random bullshit that happens with us, like
in our lives.
Reorganizing my iPad, or us watching the Flyers games as we record,
or Owen running a marathon, which
running a marathon, which
yes.
we will get to. But if you're new here, please make sure to go follow us on our social media. It is at Underground F1 on Instagram and Threads, and at Underground_F1 over on X. There's also my personal account on Threads as well, is Underground F1 _Owen. Sorry, this is a
damn. You're
I'm really messing up here. My brains are still scrambled. It's Underground F1 _Owen on Threads is my personal thread account. God, I'm bad today. We'll just move on. Go follow us over there. You guys get constant news updates from us, and also, again, just personal bullshit about ourselves. Make sure to also go subscribe to Underground Sports Philadelphia over on YouTube. If you're wondering why that's different, it's because we are part of the wonderful Underground Sports Network, started by Kyle, our lovely friend. He started the show with Underground Sports Philadelphia, and he's brought it out into this whole network of awesome shows, like us, like Underground Sports Philly, like Getting the Whole, like Top Bins. It's a whole thing. So go follow and subscribe to us over on YouTube. I am really doing bad. This is like I can't get my head together at all during this.
Get yourself together.
Go subscribe to Underground Sports Philadelphia over on YouTube. Go follow us on Instagram and Threads at Underground F1. Go follow us on Twitter at Underground _F1, and go follow me on Threads with Underground F1 _Owen. Boom. That's the correct thing. Clip that. That's the
there
one
we go.
Out to everybody. Got there eventually.
And if you made it through that 4-minute introduction, thank you.
We've done longer intros before,
and we've done worse intros. So but yes, we will get the show started because there is a lot to talk about, and we'll keep it shorter.
To talk about.
So yes, starting off with meme of the week.
Of the week.
I was like, thank you for playing it. So my meme of the week is about the one, the only 4-time world champ, MaxVerstappen, who on
So
his post-race interviews. Wait, can you mute it for a moment?
Another one, and
I
then
can do that. Mute.
During his post-race interviews after he won the race on Saturday night, he progressively gets more and more drunk as the interviews go on. He's in the media pen and he has a Heineken, and people are like, it's weird to see him without like a Red Bull can. People are like, well, he does ads for Heineken all the time. And it was the Heineken, like it was the Heineken Las Vegas Grand Prix or something. Like it was in the name. So of course he's going to. It's going to play another video. So yeah, and then obviously when you see him again with that little coffee mug, he has a gin and tonic in there. You can you can unmute it now if you want. But yeah, he.
I don't need. You said gin tonic in.
Yeah,
gin tonic. Yeah,
gin and tonic in that travel coffee mug.
En dat heb ik hem absoluut gezegd live bij Sky Sports.
What the fuck was that?
No, his facial expressions too, like he's gone.
En dat heb ik hem absoluut gezegd live bij Sky Sports.
Like, what is that?
Laatste vraag eigenlijk.
Ja, dat lijkt een beetje op elkaar.
Well, he's speaking.
Hou scherp. Super.
He's speaking Dutch, but that was the best. That was his post-race interviews. The fact that they made him do that right there. Oh, I took it away. But yeah, he gets more and more drunk as the interviews go on. And then there's also a clip of him. I almost chose this picture as well, where he's like with the team and stuff, and he has the coffee mug in one hand, and then he has a glass of a gin and tonic as well. So he was double-fisted.
I love it.
So
you know what? As he should, though, for being four-time drivers champion. As he should. Yeah.
As he should. It's also like 4-time consecutive world champion. Like
yes.
And once again, I just want to say I would love to get drunk with MaxVerstappen, but I feel like it'd be a great time.
It would be so much fun. I would love to get drunk with any driver. Like, don't get me wrong, but there are just some drivers that it's like, and Max is the one where you're like, you just know he has.
It's a good time.
A good time because it feels like Max is already like a pretty goofy, like nonchalant guy when he's not on the track, but when he's drunk, you can tell it like just like amplifies. So it's, yeah, I would love it.
There's also at one point in the one interview where he's speaking like with the thermos and stuff, he goes to smile, and it reminds me of you on your 21st birthday because his eyes are gone and all you see is just over. Smile. He's just like
just so purely just nothing
there.
Lights are on, nobody's home, like just pure
that gin and tonic.
Yeah, just having a good time. Oh, I know the feeling.
Yeah, but yes, that was my meme of the week. Now Owen's.
Mine's not nearly as good. I feel like mine's a letdown compared to
it's good.
But this is Fred, because Fred's typical sassiness. Reporter, it doesn't quote the reporter in this picture, and I didn't see the interview live, so I don't know who it is. But they say, typically your car is better on Sunday. And with it being in Las Vegas, everything is shifted up one day. Fred goes, yeah, but the race is on Saturday. It is just like a typical like Fred answer. Like, ignore all the stuff that happened with Charles and Carlos that we'll get into. But like, this is just a typical Fred answer, but it also is the answer of like, I don't want you guys to ask me about all this bullshit that happened. So I'm just going to make a joke and make you laugh. And then hopefully the interview ends. Like, that's it. It is really funny also seeing this too, because I will give a little update. We just watched the Charles Leclerc episode in Drive to Survive.
So you saw Fred as
So we saw Fred in his sour days, which is like, it's so funny rewatching this series now, knowing so much more, because you're watching it the first time around. You're not paying attention to all these like little details and everything, but you're seeing Charles at Sauber. You're seeing Charles being teammates with Marcus Ericsson, which is like watching that. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like it feels like a forgotten era. And then you have Fred where I'm like cracking up because I'm like, he's Charles's team boss now. And there's a whole thing about Fred about how he's really this happy guy, but he looks like a grump. And I'm like, oh my God, yeah. Like he looks like he's like such an asshole, but then he's like such a nice guy and everything. And I also was cracking up because they cut to, it was after the decision that Kimi Räikkönen was coming to Sauber. So Marcus and Charles knew that one of them was out at the end of the season. They're in the strategy room and they're like awkwardly talking just about race strategy. I'm pretty sure
Charles
it's
knew
Ruth.
that.
It's Ruth Buscombe.
It is Ruth.
It's the
It is
okay.
Ruth.
I heard her speak and I was like,
It's
I think
Ruth.
that's Ruth. And I did look it up and it says she does like become a strategist for Sauber for a bit. So I'm like, all right, I'm pretty sure it's her. But I was like, I'm 95% sure that's Ruth.
She was
and now I'm
with
like,
Sauber until last year.
okay. So to that point more, I'm like, then they're showing Charles like walking through the hallway and I'm like trying to peek around him as he's walking because I'm like, is that Ruth? Like looking for the picture. And just watching the episode as a whole. Like, and it just like cracks me up now, like watching it. But
no, that's Ruth. Yeah, that's why she always has like she speaks so fondly about Charles because she worked so closely with him during his time at Sauber and stuff in the beginning of his career. But yeah, that's Ruth. I think she talks about it sometimes on F1 TV when she's on. And like recently she was talking about her time at McLaren, like the old McLaren, and how different the team vibes were from then before like Zach Brown fully took over and revamped it and everything. So yeah, she's been in the sport for a really long time. But yeah, that's Ruth.
I was just like, as soon as I heard her speak, I was like, I think that's Ruth because you hear her for like a split second, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure. And now we hear
her voice all the time, so it's like,
right,
yeah, that's Ruth.
So it's like hearing her talk, and then hearing her also. She's strategist in the team, so she literally says the word strategy, and you hear. I heard it, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like Ruth, and then so clearly it was her. But yeah, it's funny watching this show differently now because I know all these things and whatnot. Like I said. Watching the Charles Leclerc and Marcus Ericsson teammate era, it feels like a fever dream. Just like thinking about it.
Marcus, who goes on to IndyCar, wins the Indy 500. Like
Charles
now multiple race winner with Fart. Yeah, it's wild too.
Yeah,
and Charles looks like a baby. I haven't watched that episode in so long, but he looks like a child in that episode.
He pops up like that interview, like close up right away, and you're like, whoa. It's like he looks so young, and he is. He's 20 when they're talking, and I'm like, damn, like. But good episode. We have 2 episodes left in season 1.
I never realized how late in the season that episode is.
It's episode 6, and I guess there's only 8 episodes for season 1. So, because we finished it, and it pops up, and it does Netflix's thing where they want you to keep watching, and it's 2 episodes remaining, and I'm like, oh my god, all right, cool.
Doesn't season 1 end? And it like cuts to Lando when he's like going up the elevator in McLaren's because it's like teasing for the next season.
Maybe?
I think it does.
No, was he season 2? Was his inclusion?
He's season 3. No, because you're watching 2018.
Oh, that's right. I'm watching 2018. So next season covers 2019.
The 2019
season,
reviews.
George, Alex, and Lando.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yes, those were our memes of the week. Weekly news. We got some big weekly news yesterday and today. News. First off, before we get into weekly news, IPF1 Store.com for all your fave pieces of artwork, t-shirts, hats, travel mugs, coffee mugs, our personal capsule collection with IPF1 Store.com as well. Coupon code underground10, only vowels leading you for 10% off your entire purchase. Okay, first piece of news came out yesterday. There was little pieces of inklings over the weekend that this was going to be announced soon, but then it was announced yesterday. Excuse me, I just burped. It was announced yesterday. Cadillac is officially joining the grid in 2026, so there will be an 11th team, 2 more seats. To be full in 2026. I said 2026, new team, new regs.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good.
Cannot wait.
Yeah. So, this said today, or let me go back. Let me find the tweet. But yes, it's Cadillac with General Motors, GM, and they will be using Ferrari's engine at the beginning, which is great. I think it's funny that the both U.S. teams are going to be using the Italy Ferrari engine. But yes, and then it also broke a little bit later on in the day yesterday that GM announced that Mario Andretti will serve as a director on the team's board. So that's what people were like, wait, what happened to Andretti? This is Andretti.
This is Andretti.
Just renamed, and Mario Andretti is still going to have, which Mario Andretti is the older one. Michael's the younger one. Michael is Zach Brown's long lost twin brother.
Yes.
Mario Andretti will still have a major hand in this team going forward.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun.
This GM Cadillac was just the Trojan horse for Mario to get in. That's what it was.
And it's interesting, like a few weeks ago, you had to go into the Department of Justice in the U.S. government because it wasn't going through. There was all these issues. You have Michael Andretti step down. You have the president of Liberty Media step down. People are replaced. It goes through in like 2 weeks. So
yeah,
I have a feeling there might have been a little bit of an ego battle going on before with that, but
I would not be shocked at all.
Yeah. One of our questions later on in F1 Threads is like, who do you think will, like, very, very early predictions about who do you think will get the seats for that team? So we'll talk about it more later on. But yeah, that question's from Casper. So yeah, just wanted to hit that first. Then early this morning, it was announced that the F1 has announced the introduction of a formal diversity and inclusion charter, which has been agreed upon by all 10 teams, within the FIA and F1. This charter is designed to enable anyone to access, contribute to, and enjoy global motorsports. And then a little bit later, on Mission 44's Instagram, which is Lewis Hamilton's charity foundation, it said, he posted, there was like a few stories, so I'll read them. It said, in 2020, the Hamilton Commission was launched by Mission 44 founder Lewis Hamilton to look into the lack of representation in motorsport. The landmark report resulted in the creation of Mission 44 and worked to empower young people to overcome social injustice and succeed in STEM and motorsport, but it also called on the industry to do more, recommending a F1 charter to increase collaboration and commitment within the sport. Today we welcome the announcement of the F1 Diversity and Inclusion Charter by F1, the FIA, and all F1 teams. At Mission 44, we believe greater collaboration is key, and we are pleased to see the impact of our work playing such an important role. We look forward to continuing to work with the F1, FIA teams and wider industries to create long-term systematic change and ensure all young people see themselves represented in the sport. So, huge move. I had no doubt Lewis Hamilton had a hand in, I had a feeling he had a hand in making that happen. There was a good point brought up. Terry, Coffee Corner on Threads posted that it does lack some language about people with disabilities or disability representation, which is obviously super important. I mean, even when we went to the IndyCar race, someone at our McLaren is wheelchair bound, working on the team, working along the pit wall. Like, it can happen. Right. So F1 is just a little behind the ball with this one. But yeah, I mean, it's a huge move.
I wouldn't be shocked if maybe the words are revised a little bit, or if, maybe Lewis makes a statement or something and revises it to include that. Because with all the work he does, it doesn't feel like it's a purposeful thing that anybody with disability is left out. So I can understand if it was just an overlook. Not that anybody wants to be overlooked, but you know what I mean. I can see Lewis.
He didn't do it. I don't think it was meant on purpose. That's right. What I think you're trying to say. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely huge. You look at, even when you see the team garages, obviously we have a picture of. You have the team picture from Red Bull after the team Max won. There's an okay mix of people. But if you go down the garage to Aston Martin and Mercedes, there's women in that garage working on the cars. Yeah. There's so it can be done. So yeah. I'd be excited to see. I mean, you look at Ferrari's garage, there's not one woman in there that doesn't work in the garage. It's a mechanic or an engineer in some capacity. So there's definitely teams that could make a change.
Right.
But yeah.
I like
that was the two pieces of weekly news. Like I said,
more people to the sport.
Yeah. Philly Marathon recap. I was going to give us a little recap.
How scary it was, you mean?
Wasn't scary.
How terrifying it was? No, it was not scary. It
was always scary for that one part.
Yeah. I will say this. For how large of an event the Philadelphia Marathon is, they do a pretty good job of of putting it on. It's very easily like communicated. Like there are, the website's very built out just with the map of the start finish area of the course itself, what road closures are going to be happening. I'm sure maybe in the city it's a little bit more of a mess just because
it's really not.
it's
Because I mean, we
happening.
drove around to see you, and it's really not that
Yeah,
difficult. Like it wasn't difficult to get from Penn's Landing to Brewery Town to see you. Like it was not at all.
right. But yeah, ran the marathon this past Saturday, which we talked about it last week on the show. If you guys listened, I was hoping to clear a time of 4 hours, go sub 4 hours. I did not do that. I did around, I think my final time was 4 hours and 23 minutes.
I think so.
Which is funny because this is not the first marathon I've done. I did it 2 years ago. And I went faster in my first marathon than I did in this marathon. The first one I went 4:03. This past weekend, like I said, it was just 4 hours and 23 minutes. There's a section of the course where it's called Kelly Drive. And it's a very long road that follows the Schuylkill River up from like pretty much the base of the city. You can follow that kind of one path up the Schuylkill River all the way up into Manayunk, which is like North Philadelphia, and then back down where you come back down to the famous art museum, and that's where the finish line is. But you turn onto Kelly Drive, and it's this like in my mind, it's this switch in my head where it's I'm on Kelly Drive, I'm almost done. Like I'm on the last like section. Like I split the course up into like 3 or 4 sections in my head, and I got on the Kelly Drive. In my mind, I'm like, I'm almost done. I'm almost there. I can do it. And then you pass mile marker like 15. And it's 26.2 miles. So it's like,
you have 10 more to get out.
And then you're also running on the right side of the road. And on the left side of the road is the people coming back down from Manayunk and everything. It's literally just an out and back when you turn
Isn't it a hill too when you first get on Kelly Drive? Aren't you running up the hill kind of?
Kind of. It's a little bit uphill when you're going out. And it destroyed me mentally. It really, like, I was watching everybody on the left side of the road just like go past me, and I was like, I just want to be you. I like literally just want to be you. I just want to be done. And it's, you think about it, you're like, okay, mile 15, I just got to go up and back. Like, okay, that's still like an hour's worth of running. It's like, and then you're making the realization of like, oh my God, I am here for a while. And it really hurt me mentally, but I called you guys. I called my wife with half the expectation and kind of half the want for her to tell me that it was okay to turn off. But she did, and everybody who was on the other side of the phone, you, Mom, Dad, Uncle Mike, all did a fantastic job of reassuring me that I was going to be okay, that I could do it, that I could make my way through it and everything. And at that point, I'd also made the realization that I wasn't going to make that goal time.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped with the idea of like, okay, if I'm in pain, which I was at that point, I need to stop and walk. I need to stop and walk, or I need to take a physical stop and just not make any forward progress, just stop, sit on the side of the road for a bit and just take a breath. Which I did. I did a couple times. Sometimes I would walk. There was one time that I stopped and like literally just like stood still for a second just to kind of like recollect myself and then keep going. But I finished. I did it. My leg did not seize up like it did 2 years ago. Which was great. I finished my first marathon like I was pirate with a peg leg. And how they have to like can't bend their legs, so they have to like swing it around. But I finished. I got handed an orange juice cup that did absolutely nothing for me because it was frozen solid, which sucked. But yeah, it was a great time. You guys did a great job with the signs. There's one, as you can see back there. That is a sign that Ange made. Yeah, that's the one that Ange made. I do have all the signs too that Mom and Dad made and you made, Case. So some great signs. There were some great signs from random supporters, just like the entire time, which is really nice to see. But Yeah, I'm a little bummed about the timing of it, but I finished it. I did it. I will never
You
do
did
one
it.
again.
He means
I
it
said
this
that.
time.
Yeah, I said that my first year when I finished it. I literally I looked at Ange and I was like, I'm never doing this again. And then a year later, after we were married and everything was kind of settled down, I was like, I think I'm gonna try the marathon again. And I signed up. I work better in like training that way when I have like a financial commitment and a deadline to it. So I was like, I need to sign up and then start training. So yeah, now my Saturdays aren't going to be dictated by
Running.
long runs. I have my first weekend coming up this weekend is going to be glorious because I can just sit there and enjoy a cup of coffee and not have this existential dread of just like, I got to finish this cup of coffee and get out the door so I can get my run in and done in a normal time.
You can enjoy your coffee. Watch some F1.
I can enjoy my own coffee. Watch the F1. I'm a little bummed that like it dictates so much of your time over the weekends on when you're training.
Especially the long runs.
Yeah, like it's just like so much like Brazil sprint race. Like I literally said to you, I was like, I cannot watch Brazil because of this run. I had 20 miles that day.
Yeah, that was
a
long
run. And it was like there was no way that I was gonna like work around it. So yeah, it was good. I will say this to anybody who ever thinks, can I do this? Can I not do this? I will say this. I believe that anybody physically can do a marathon. Even if you're not a runner, I think you can physically do a marathon and do the training that comes from it. The physical distances that you're running, I think anybody can do that. The issue and where the challenge is and where I will give a fresh warning to anybody is the amount of time that it takes. I mean, it was, like I said, Saturdays were wake up at 8, be out the door at 9, run for, when you get to the longer runs, you're running for 2.5 hours to 4 hours, somewhere in that range. You're then getting home. You then have to do the proper rest and relaxation and the stretching and the refueling and everything, and then showering. So you're not really getting done everything until like 2 in the afternoon. And it's
and you started training
I started training in June.
Yeah,
like that's what makes me more excited about Saturday now too. Is like thinking about it that like my Saturdays since June have just been dominated by runs, and now this first Saturday is not. And I hope she's not out there right now. Don't tell my wife this. If she doesn't listen to this episode, it's gonna be great. She's also working on Saturday, so it's gonna be great because she'll get up and go to work, and then I'll be alone in the house, and I can just.
I hope the door opens right now.
I don't know. She might be gone. Let me see. But yes, I also want to thank you to everybody who shared some very kind words on Threads. Casey was very, very kindly posting updates throughout the race. I don't know if I got to every one of them. I think I did.
I think you did.
Yeah, I think I saw everybody's. But thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate it. It was great seeing them after the race. It just makes me, again, just appalled and baffled that we have gotten to this point of the show that we have listeners and fans who care that the fact that I'm running 26.2 miles
on a Sunday in Philadelphia.
Yeah. I was thinking about our Europe friends too, because for some reason they have like different mile markers throughout the race, but they're in kilometers. So it's like I saw like 5K, 10K, 15K, 20K, 25K, 30K. And I like kept thinking of everybody, like trying to do the conversion in my head of like what that means to them, or like what that means to our Europe listeners. And I was like, I can't do this right now. I'm so mentally dead. But I was like, I was thinking of you guys during it.
And the app though, like we would get when you would hit like those different milestones throughout the run, it would be like he just completed the 5K time, like the half marathon time. So maybe that's why. But you did it. You did it.
I did it. I lived. My legs are still a little sore.
We're proud of you.
I'm good. I'm good to go.
Yeah, you did it. That's all that matters.
No more.
Better than I would have done.
No more weekends missed races because of running.
Did you see the mom from Philly that won?
Yes, and I love her quote at the end of it.
I was
So
going to ask the quote.
I want that like tattooed on me.
It's so good.
My city, my win.
And then she went to Nifty
Come
50s
on.
later on Sunday for a milkshake.
It's like
it's such a someone when like it was a clip of her and the quote was in there and people in the comments were like, "Wait, that is a legendary quote." Like
that's such a tough quote. She also just gave birth to her first kid.
Yeah, and she's the first woman to win in a first Philadelphia woman to win in like extremely long time.
Oh, she's around Ardmore. She's an Ardmore native.
Okay.
See, the mom to now 13-month-old set off Sunday on her home course when she took home her previous best finish of 3rd place.
Damn.
What a tough quote, man. My city, my win. This is fantastic. I just kept thinking my city, my win. That was my mantra the whole time, she said in the interview with race organizers after the marathon. Oh,
it's such a good
that's
quote.
Disgusting.
And
I need that like plastered in Citizens Bank Park. I need it plastered in Wells Fargo Center and Lincoln Financial Field. Like, disgusting quote.
Like, the Eagles are going to go, like, say the Eagles go all the way, win the Super Bowl. They better quote her and post that because it's so good.
God.
That's the most Philadelphia thing to say, also.
I love it. This time is disgusting, too. 2 hours, 36 minutes, and 42 seconds.
Some of people were posting videos, like, as she was going by. She finished, like, 9:30.
That's brutal. I can't.
Yeah, but that was Owen's marathon recap.
Sorry, this is even more gross. Quote, if I wanted to win, I'd have to make a move. So at mile 23, I put down my fastest mile time and had the crowd cheer me in home. Like, I just can't imagine mile 23 just being like, you know what?
Let me kick it into gear.
Let me get my fastest split right here.
That's like Red Bull not using their full power of their car until like the last few laps. Like, oh yeah, let me actually go. Let me do it now. Like, yeah, but you did it.
I did it. I lived. Did it. And now I can drink again.
Yes.
Which is wonderful for our next segment.
Which takes us to Pints and Pit Stops, which is brought to you by
Box.
BoxBox
is a wonderful app. We've been working with them for a couple months now, and they just continue to impress with all the updates that they're bringing to the app. If you are unfamiliar, the full name of the app is BoxBox Club. It is available on iOS and Android phones. It is the F1 app built by fans for fans. You'll hear us as we start talking about Vegas after this Pints and Pit Stops and everything, just talking about teams and what tires drivers came in on, what laps Alex and Pierre DNF'd on, like stuff like that. That's all coming from BoxBox. That is built into a beautiful UI, into a beautiful app user face for people to use. It's so easy to use too. It's like so intuitive because you get in and you just like immediately know where everything is, which is something that I personally love. I think that's a true case of like a true sign of a good design app. Goodly. It's awesome. I love it. I use it every single day. Like I said, I was reorganizing my widgets on my iPad to have the driver championships. I can actually show the screen because they're pretty big, so you should be able to see them for our video listeners. So I have 4 corners are set to their widgets. Right up here, I have to reconfigure them. Again, there's been some issues with my iPad, so I feel like they're not working right. But it'll be McLaren's current standings and like team standings, and then Lando Norris's current standings and team standings. But then down here, I have drivers' championships. This is a live updating leaderboard. So this will, the moment a race is done and points are finalized, that updates. Over here, we have constructor standings. Same thing. Anytime a race is done, here you go. Here's your updated points. And they have a nice, awesome decal going for whoever's in the lead right now. Wonderful McLaren. And then right up here in the middle, I don't know how well you guys can see that. That's just F1 news. So they collect sources of F1 news and they pump it out to this widget. So now anytime I open up this home screen on my iPad, I can see just a quick snapshot of the current standing of the F1 world. And it's all thank you to BoxBox.
BoxBox.
BoxBox. And thank you again for working with us, BoxBox. It is truly an honor It's so exciting. We've talked about it before, but we haven't said it in a bit. We were fans of the app before we started working with them. And I've always said that I would love to work with them. It'd be great. So
You have.
Thank you for making a dream come true.
Yes. Now Pints and Pit Stops.
I'm gonna be horrible at this.
I don't think you will. I will be asking Owen the 5 questions today, but as we just said, his training is done. He's able to drink. So Owen actually has a pint to try with his Pints and Pit Stop.
It's my first beer. Well, no, I shouldn't say this. This is not my first beer.
This is not your first
2 months.
beer.
I had some beers after the race. But this was the first beer that I had after the race. This is Bonesaw Brewing Company. They're based in New Jersey. And this is their double India Pale Ale or double IPA called Squeezins. It is like a citrus orange flavored drink. It is 9%. So if a high alcohol percentage hits you hard, don't drink this. It's delicious, and I'm genuinely so excited to drink this again. So we will do the crack. Hopefully you can hear the crack.
Why not?
Last time I did this, it didn't work. So give me a yes or no shake if you hear it, Case. Oh, that was a good one too. Oh, that was really good.
That was good.
One sip, everyone knows the rules for a beer I already drank.
Well, you already drank it. And I knew you liked it because you had 2 the other day.
It's just so good. It's just like, it doesn't. I'll say this. I got this off a recommendation of a friend who is not an IPA person. I am an IPA person. I love them. And when he texted me about it, he said, I knew they were out, knew they were drinking beers. I said, how are the beers going? He said, good. I found an IPA that is like dangerously drinkable. And I said, oh shit, if he likes it, then I'm going to love it. So I had him pick me up a pack. It's been sitting in my fridge for about 2 months now, which sucks because I just been
looking at it.
There's been nights where I'm just like, man, I really want a beer. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, I can't do it. But it is delicious. Good work, Bonesaw.
Yes. Okay. You know the rules. 5 questions.
I do
it's
know
all
the rules,
about the Vegas GP. Every question you get right, you take away a point. Every question you get wrong, you take away a second. Not a point, sorry, a second.
Yes.
I won't start it until after I read the first question, okay? You have this first one before I ask you, you have to give me 2 names, okay?
Okay. First question is
ready?
2 names.
Yes, ready? Name 2 other drivers that are 4-time driver champions.
Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton.
What position did Hamilton start the race?
10th.
Who got the fastest lap?
Lando Norris.
How many points now separate Haas and Alpine?
2.
What did Oscar get the 5-second penalty for?
False start.
Good job.
Damn.
Okay, so your time without anything is 18:04. This is going to be your best time.
This might be my best time. Oh, can I dethrone Faye or Frey?
You might dethrone Frey. Okay, you ready? So name 2 other drivers that are 4-time driver champion. You said Schumacher and Hamilton, which is correct. You also could have done Fangio, Prost, or Vettel. So you're at 17:04.
Yeah.
What positions did Hamilton start the race in? 10th. 16. Who got the fastest lap? Lando. 15.
I was right about that?
Lando, yeah.
Yeah, I like remember him putting on the tires to do it, but I can't remember if he actually did it or not.
No, he got it. This is the one you got wrong. How many points now separate Haas and Alpine? It's only 1 point.
Damn,
okay.
I'm so close.
And what did Oscar get the 5-second penalty for? False start outside his grid box. So
yes,
you got 4 correct in 18:04. So you're down to 14:04. That dethrones her, doesn't it?
That 100% dethrones her.
I'm gonna post her right now.
Can I? What was my decimal? Like 14:0 what?
For 14:04.
14:04. Oh my god. That brings my average time down to a 26 seconds, and my fastest time to a 14 seconds. She got an 18 seconds.
Oh, so you're fast.
I killed her. Should I?
might-
I
I'm
might post
post-
that or now.
No, I'm just gonna post that. Oh yeah, you
Okay.
can post. You can post her if you want. But yes, that was our Pints and Pit Stops. Moving on to Vegas. Vegas. Good race as always. Vegas freaking delivers. Year 2. Back again.
Yeah.
Great race.
What a race.
All sessions were good. All drain covers were accounted for, covered, cemented in, sealed. Nothing happened there. But yeah, the race was... Qualifying was good, and the race was even better. There's something about that track. They made it correct. It's not... Because it's a street track, it's still not a tiny street track, so it makes for great overtaking, which Perez is easily going to win overtake of the month for that double overtake.
Oh, yes. I'm so happy you brought that up. I was amazed.
It's so good. So I nearly screamed, then I had to remember that I was in your childhood bedroom with mom and dad sleeping in the same house. And I was like, okay.
I'm going to kick down the door.
I nearly screamed when Charles took the lead, and then I screamed when almost screamed when I was like laying back and Checo does that overtake, and I literally was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
There's something
for a
about
man
double
who's been
overtake.
struggling. That was nice to see.
You know who I'm also excited, like I'm excited to see on the overtake of the month? Ollie for Brazil.
Oh, yeah.
His overtake on Hamilton. I was excited to see him on that list. I was like, the future is bright, kid. The future is bright.
Future is now, man.
We will obviously end with Red Bull and Ferrari deserves. Well, I'll end with Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull. Who do you want to start with? You want to start with Williams?
Let's start with Williams. A little bit. I mean, listen, it really hit hard when we've watched this 10-minute video of Williams mechanics putting the car back together, and then the next race, Franco Colapinto bins it and just puts it in the wall at 50 Gs.
And I would say a major crash. Did you see what
destroys his car?
Said to, I hope they never PR train the boy. Did you hear? I don't know if this is legit, but I'm pretty sure he said he was concussed.
Oh, really? He was clear.
Yes, I know, but then he came out afterwards, like to I forget which news outlet, like in the paddock, still saying that he pretty sure he probably did have a concussion.
Oh, that's not
which
good.
Is so dangerous. Yeah, not good. But yeah, you have Franco who crashes it. He did get out of the car, but there's that clip of him waiting for the medical car to come get him, or the safety car, and he is standing there very gingerly, like he doesn't look like he want to make too many moves because it could end bad.
Sure, he's definitely shaken up from it, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad. Like before, I knew that he may still be concussed. I was going to say I'm glad he was okay, and I'm glad that he was cleared the race. Because it's just. It's wild to see crashes like those, and taking into effect like that he went into that wall at 50 Gs, and it's like, like the fact that he walks away from that is great to see. It's awesome, but yeah, still scary.
Yeah, very scary. And then obviously race day comes, Alex retires. Did he retire first, or was Pierre retired first?
Pierre retired first. Pierre retired on lap 15. Alex retired on lap 25. So Alex did literally half of the race, and then he retired. Which
true.
I didn't pick it. Now, granted, I just watched the race an hour ago. But has there been any reason that has come out onto why they retired him?
Alex?
Yeah. I know Pierre's car just fucking blew up.
Yeah, so apparently I saw someone posted the telemetry for Pierre's car. He was getting tow from Yuki, and then that's when he started having the issues. People were like, did his car literally just crap out because he was getting such a good tow from Yuki?
It just overworked itself, and literally just like, that'd be hilarious, but...
and that he obviously didn't damage his car, right? So his total for... He could set a record for like the first driver in a very long time or ever to have $0 in damage, I think, for a whole season. So, but he didn't. He didn't, what's it called? He didn't damage the car. He retired it and pulled it in.
Right.
But his radio message, Pierre, was like, I have no power. And they're like, no, you're fine. And then all of a sudden he was like, no, I have no power.
Yeah, so like you said, I just watched this race like an hour ago, so I'm amazed.
Sorry, I'm scrolling to see if I'm listening, but I'm scrolling to see about Albon. So
it amazes me that when you have a driver who is experienced and has been driving carts and cars for his entire life, that when he comes over the radio and says, I have no power, your first response is, no, well, computers look okay, so you're all right. Don't get me wrong. I understand that Formula One is a very data-driven sport and a very analytics-driven sport, but when you have when you have your driver coming over the radio and is like, I have no power, and then you turn around and look at the computer and you're like, well, no, you're wrong because the computer says you're fine. Like, just to me felt like an odd answer from Alpine. Because then, he comes over the radio again like 2 minutes later and is like screaming, like, he was no power. Like,
and then you saw the plume of smoke behind him.
Yeah.
As he's like continuing to drive. Williams posted that we are forced to retire Alex's car from the race due to a suspected PU issue that will be further investigated after the race. So, I don't know if they've put anything else up in regards to that, but this account posted this is the 5th weekend in a row where Albon's had issues due to things he couldn't control.
Man.
Right? Has he finished? When did I say before? Did he finish Brazil?
Has he finished a race?
He did not finish Brazil. He did not finish Mexico.
God, yeah.
Coda?
He DNF'd Singapore, got 0 points on Austin, but since Mexico has DNF.
Yeah.
That's
wild.
Absurd.
That's absurd. And that makes you think it wasn't Logan. Maybe it wasn't Logan. That was so.
No, it certainly sheds a different light on Logan a little bit.
Yeah. But Williams, another awful weekend. I hope they can finish out the next 2 races. I mean, we have 2 more races with Franco Colapinto before we have to say goodbye for next year.
Still so bummed about that.
So bummed. Yeah. But yes, Alpine, since we just talked about Pierre DNF'd, a great qualifying for Alpine.
Great qualifying. Carrying that momentum from Brazil.
Yes, literally.
And then nothing.
Yeah, I mean, but carrying momentum with Pierre, because Esteban didn't have a great qualifying. I think he was out pretty early.
Esteban qualified.
Don't know why I closed the app. I still need it open.
Esteban qualified 12th, so he made it to Q2. And then in Q2, he qualified 11th. So he was out in Q2. But yeah, I mean, Pierre.
But he finished 17th in the race.
17th, yeah.
Wow.
Pierre qualified 8th.
4th.
Esteban did 4 stops?
Yes.
What?
Yes. He went 1 to 11. Then he went 11 to 12. Then he went 12 to 45. And then he went 45 to 49.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that's why.
Oh, because he put on stalls too. That's why. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
But that's because Hülkenberg finished in the points. This is why they're now within 1 point of Alpine.
Right.
But yeah, great. I mean, not a great weekend for them after such a. And I mean, but at first with qualifying, because it was so cold and it was so slick. I mean, they were all saying it was on ice. I feel like the level, the playing field was kind of level, almost like
it
Brazil
definitely
with the conditions, and it makes you think about Pierre, who was able to put that car. He split the Ferraris in qualifying after a week of driving in the rain, where he was able to get on podiums. What could the man do in a top team car again?
It does.
Makes you think.
It begs the question.
Yeah. Sauber.
I was so
2
excited.
more to go.
I was so excited for them for this race. Watching it, I literally I heard Alex Jake's voice go, "Joe Guan Yu's in 7th. He could, and he already pitted twice. He could score points here." And I was
he finished 13th. He finished 13th. He was so close.
So close, man. And that's He finished where he qualified. Like, all right, good.
Yeah,
Valtteri
he had a
finished
better.
one spot up from where he qualified, which is nice.
Yeah,
But
Joe had a better qualifying than what's it called? Bottas.
yeah,
Yes. So yeah, Sauber is all we could say.
2 more races, man.
Yeah.
I will be amazed if we see like a team shutout for this year. I'll be amazed.
The way it's going though, I don't see. You know what I thought was funny? So pre-race stuff, James Hinchcliffe did like a pit stop video with they like showing how a pit stop works or whatever.
Yeah.
But the team they chose was Sauber. I was like, look how far they've come from the beginning of the season having the slowest pit stops,
my
and now they're
God.
being used as an example.
Yeah, their pit stops
Yeah.
were literally like a minute long, and then they're
Yeah.
being used as the example of it.
Yeah.
It's God Almighty. That coincidentally, I'm also scrolling on Threads and seeing that Liam Lawson is a Rams fan. I did not know that.
Why did he go to the game yesterday?
He went. Yeah, he went to the game.
Oh, so he got to watch. Wait, who did we play? Oh, so we got to watch the Eagles beat up on.
He got to watch the Rams lose to the Eagles, which is great.
Wait,
which is fantastic.
I want to post this on Threads.
I'm assuming it's his girlfriend.
Is that a Hannah?
Hannah St. John.
Yeah, that's his girlfriend.
Yeah, here's a I'll show.
Oh, I've seen his Instagram.
Yeah, so it's a picture of all them together, but if you zoom in the top corner, there's the Eagles. You can kind of tell in this picture. There's the Eagles logo.
I'm gonna post it. Okay, but go ahead. What do you want to say about VCarb?
VCarb, I first of all was cracking up at Yuki Tsunoda almost shitting himself.
But I mean, it was relevant.
Rightly so. Yeah. But they did decent. Yuki finishes 2 places lower than where he qualified. He got 2 points for the team. It's pretty good. Him and Nico going back and forth all race. Great battle between them.
Yeah, that was a good battle.
And Liam and Checo just know how to find each other on the racetrack.
Always.
Know how literally hunt each other down. I'm pretty sure. It is amazing to me how it's always they're ending up like wheel to wheel.
Always.
But, yeah. But Liam finishes 2 spots lower than where he qualified for a final P16. Nothing really crazy there.
No.
It's pretty much it. I guess.
Oh, so wait. Talking about Yuki, this is going back to last year.
Yeah.
So this day last year was Abu Dhabi. That's how long this damn season is. We still have 2 races left. This time last year was Abu Dhabi's the last race of the season.
God, yeah.
So someone posted today, I'm thinking about how Yuki Tsunoda was leading Abu Dhabi for a few laps this time last year, and I said,
Yep.
I remember I was freaking out.
Do you know how many stop the count posts there were on Threads and Twitter? People just being like, enough, cut the race.
Call it right now. It was such a good. It was because at that point, obviously, this time last year, championships were decided well in advance.
Oh yeah, Abu Dhabi was a nothing race.
Yeah, it was nothing. Who do we? So we did Sauber,
Aston
Alpine,
Martin.
Haas. Oh, I don't even have them on the list. That's how
Yeah.
much they. Which I feel like that's perfect to say, but I mean, Fernando was very close to the points. He ended up 5 places from where he qualified, which is good.
Yeah. He had an early pit too. He started on softs.
Yeah, he was. Randomly.
Which is weird. A weird strategy to pull. But I mean, he went literally laps 1 to 4 on the softs and then pit.
I remember when they called him in for the first for pitting first. I was like, already? I was like, is there something wrong with his car?
That's what I thought too.
I was like, oh, okay. I'm trying to scroll back to see if I can find my race coverage thread to see, because there was everyone started on the mediums, and then there was a few that didn't. Sergio started on the hards and stuff, and then obviously he started on the.
Like you said, mostly everybody started on mediums. Checo started on hards and switched to mediums, then back to hards. But pretty much everybody started on mediums.
Yeah.
I mean, Lance finishes 15th, up 3 spots from where he qualified. Fernando finishes 11th, up 5 spots from where he qualified. They're immaculate form of just not being the team they once were last year is amazing to me still.
The downfall for them is
Yeah.
kind of impressive almost.
It's been wild.
Yeah. McLaren?
Haas?
Oh yeah, Haas.
Haas. Then we can go. Then I'll jump right into McLaren. K-Mag, 12 finishes 12th. Neither up nor down from where he qualified.
Yeah, perfectly.
Nico in the points, which is a big moment because Haas now officially overtook Alpine again in the constructor standings. So Nico getting those 4 points for Haas is huge for them. So would like to see a cool battle between Alpine and Haas going into these last two races.
V-Carb's right there too. They got 46 points. So
yeah, it's a battle between
It's Williams and Sauber by themselves down alone. Yeah. But yeah, it will be exciting to see that battle.
McLaren.
Not much to talk about.
No, not much to talk about. I will say this. I saw a bunch of posts on Twitter about how Lando was all smiles after losing the Drivers' Championship. And I'm not sure if people were making fun of him. I'm not sure if people were just kind of hating on him just because there's a lot of people that love to hate on Lando. I can understand why it would be funny if you you lose a Drivers' Championship and now you're like all smiles and everything and blah blah. I can fully understand though, and I guarantee you it's the idea of that weight is off his shoulders now.
Yep. No, exactly.
That weight, it's gone. Nobody's going to ask him any more questions about, do you think you can catch Max? Do you know what needs to happen for you to catch Max? All this stuff. Those questions are gone. It is now strictly a fight for P2.
Yep.
And P1 in the Constructors Championships, and that's a huge weight off of Lando's shoulders. So I get it. He loses. He smiles. He's happy. Whatever. But that's definitely why. Oscar, decent race. Nothing kind of like crazy noteworthy to talk about.
McLaren really, they went in with no expectations, and it was the expectation. Yeah. It wasn't good track for them at all.
Yeah, I'm almost kind of happy that it happens that Max kind of won now because it gives you the biggest opportunity to let go of that fight. And focus on P1 and Constructors Champs,
And Qatar is a perfect track for them, so.
Right. So I like it. I am happy to see, too, the photos of Lando and Max, like, laughing and, like, high-fiving and everything afterwards, too. Because, again, listen, they always talk about how drivers can separate what happens on track to what happens off track. But there's always going to be some sort of bleed over between the two. So it's nice to see that weight off of both of their shoulders, honestly, because they are friends, and it's probably nice to them. It's a relief that they have this weight off of, God, now it's not Max or it's not Lando chasing Max anymore. It's Max 1. Let's see if Lando can hold P2. And now
P2,
free up to, not that he would do this, but like, there's Max's like mental capacity now to like almost like root for Lando if he wants to, because it's like he's not a competitor anymore, But yeah, that's pretty much it for McLaren.
Wait, I have something that is kind of random. Did you see that the LA Kings are using Lando's helmet as like their post celebration in the locker room? Like,
why is that?
I don't know, because I don't think. Like, he didn't go to a Kings game. If anything, Daniel Ricciardo was at the Kings game like 2 days before. So, like, I don't understand how they got it or what, but it's pretty cool. I'll give it to him.
I do like it, yeah.
Yeah. But, yes, that was McLaren. Ferrari? I'll keep it short.
The shit show?
They've went from having some perfect weekends the past few races to this weekend just coming undone at the seams during that race. Everyone was going into this race being like, this is a Ferrari 1-2 through and through. Like, no one was counting Mercedes at all. I think I was, though. But, yeah, so obviously the race comes. Charles gets the lead at the beginning, but burns the tires so quick. He has to pit very early. Yeah. So then Carlos gets his position back. Then there's this whole communication mix-up about how they asked Carlos to swap positions with Charles, which he does. He does swap positions, but he asked to pit 2 laps earlier.
Right. And I'll admit, he does a great job, too, of swapping the positions and keeping, I think, Lewis behind them. Yeah, because Lewis is, like, right there.
Yes. So then there's the whole mix-up where he's like, can you please pit me? And then they're not ready. So people thought he was going to get a penalty, but because he goes over to the pit lane and then literally it's like, never mind, and comes back over. But he never crosses the pit lane line. That's why he didn't get a penalty. Like, he never fully crosses over into the pit lane and then decides to come back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's why there was no penalty. No, there was not even a hint of him being under review or under investigation. Then Charles comes in to pit a little bit later, and as he's coming out, they come over the radio to tell they come over the radio to tell Charles that they told Carlos to not overtake him.
Right.
Carlos's radio, he is told, do not put pressure on Charles. Kind of 2 different things.
2 different things can be taken out of context. Yes. Absolutely.
I see the people that are like, do not put pressure is do not overtake. Like, I can see that, but when you think about it, not putting pressure on Charles is kind of what Carlos does best, especially a lot when he's like right on Charles' tail and almost wants to, like, or they're look like they're gonna crash half the time. Yeah. So he does overtake Charles. Obviously, Carlos ends up on the podium. Great, 3rd place, wonderful. Charles P4. Charles goes on a tirade on the radio afterwards.
On a rant of a lifetime.
I've never heard him like this on the radio before. It's like he just hit that point and just absolutely exploded, just broke, like nothing, like he lost it. And respectfully, I am okay with it. People are having an issue with his radio so much, but literally every person has hit a wall like that and exploded at work, at family, at friends. Like it happens to everybody.
Hits a boiling point at some point. Yeah.
It happens to everyone. This is normal. But it does seem like it is kind of directed towards Carlos a little bit because he's like, I'm tired of always being nice. It's not even about being nice. It's just being respectful with a lot of F-bombs thrown in there.
Oh, tons.
So there's a lot of, and then even him in the media pen afterwards at first was like, I mean, I'm feeling this way, but I am understanding that no one else is getting it. Thank you. And walks away. Like, that's his one answer, and he just leaves. So there's a lot of fighting going on. People are like, well, what does Carlos have to lose? He should be driving for himself, all of this and that. People are like discrediting Charles because, God forbid, people have been wanting Charles to be like this, like acting like this on the radio and stop being so nice. But the minute he does, he's getting these, well, he's now a crybaby. Listen to him whining, all this stuff. I posted this on Threads today because I've seen it so many times. I'm going to make 2 points before we move on. Keep them quick. Carlos has a lot to lose. He has the chance to lose the World Constructors Championship. That is huge to lose, especially when you're on your way out of the team you could win it with.
Yep.
If you're driving, quote unquote, for yourself and not thinking about the team in any way, you're going to ruin the Tifosi love for you, for whatever love they have for you on your way out. And they're never going to
get that back.
You lost their respect completely. So, and I truly believe that Carlos isn't thinking that way. Like, let me just drive for myself. Yes, at the end of the day,
he's not. Yeah,
it's a team sport, but it is also an individual sport. Carlos is on his way out, but there is something bigger within the team at the moment that they could get McLaren. They're like 24 points away. They could get
they could very easily get McLaren
and win it. So there's a lot to lose there. I also keep seeing people being like, what does he have to lose? He's been fired. I would say this once and for all. The man was not fired.
Not fired.
What happened to Logan? What happened to Daniel? They were fired. His contract simply wasn't renewed. I posted this to someone today being like, well, no, he was fired. No, in any other sport, when an athlete is trying to get their contract renewed, doesn't with the team that they're currently on and goes to another team, you never hear them say, oh, no, they were fired. And that's what happened to Carlos. That's what happened to Carlos. And I also one other thing. People were saying about what does Carlos have to lose? His reputation also. If he's going out there and blatantly ignoring team orders, if he ever wants to leave Williams and go back to a top team, they're not going to take him if they know that's how he's going to react on and stuff. So I think there's a lot of fan wars going on between Carlos fans, Charles fans going back and forth. It's a very toxic place. At the end of the day, it is a Ferrari issue, a Ferrari communication issue, because if you listen to their radios, they were clearly told two different things.
Yeah. If Charles's race engineer is coming over the radio and saying, "We told Carlos to not overtake you."
Yeah.
I expect that to be word for word relayed to Carlos. Do not overtake Charles. Don't put pressure on him. Not, hey, leave Charles alone. Hey, think of the team. Think of the long-term fight. I expect, do not overtake Charles. Mm-hmm. That is the way it should be. And I understand it's in the midst of everything happening in a Grand Prix weekend. Things get fucked up and whatnot, but it is a Ferrari issue. I don't think it's a driver versus driver issue. I think it's just I think he gets overhyped by all these people who love Charles, who love Carlos, and rightfully so. And it's just, do I think Carlos could have made maybe a better decision in that moment? A little bit, because if your race engineer is coming over the radio and saying, do not put pressure on Charles, at least my first reaction wouldn't be, let me overtake him.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to just go right by him.
Let me just go right by him.
Yeah.
I get it. It's kind of like this inverse, let me not put pressure on him, because it's like, oh, if I just get past him, I won't put pressure on him. And it's like, okay, sure, I kind of see the logic in that. But you also know that, Charles is chasing Lando in the drivers' standings and everything. And like you said, it's at this point now, with Max securing, drivers' champs and everything, it's a team game at this point. Mm-hmm. For Ferrari, as far as Ferrari and McLaren are concerned, it's a team game at this point. It does not matter anymore about drivers, at least in my opinion.
No, I don't think it should either. It's that right now McLaren and Ferrari have the chance to do something that neither team has done in a very long time. Mm-hmm. So why are you going to try and mess with?
Right.
Why are you going to try and mess with that? Yeah, it is a mess, and I know people are like, but they're so close, and that's why I see people post do you not realize that not all the drivers are friends?
Yeah.
They're not.
Listen, I get it. I understand that, yes, Max has won drivers' champs, right? Fine. There's still a lot to play for in terms of getting P2 and getting P3. In the mind of an athlete, that is so different. Is mm-hmm. Between second and third. So I get it, but you have, like you said, both McLaren and Ferrari have the opportunity to do something that they have not done in a very long time. McLaren has not won the Constructors' Championship since 1998. Ferrari has not won it since 2008.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for the teams. So, yes, as far as Andrea Stella and Fred are concerned, they need to make sure going into these last two races that mm-hmm. team orders, if they're going to be applied, need to be direct, need to be concise, and straight to the point.
And listen to. Yeah.
Right. And listen to. Right. And if they're not, then you're going to get reprimanded by some sort. There's too much at play for McLaren and Ferrari here that they can't take this kind of bullshit inter-team fighting.
No.
But it makes for good drama. It makes for good TV. Netflix is, I hope they're trying to figure out how to split up season 7 of Drive to Survive into 2 parts, just because of all the shit that has happened this year.
Listen, if we get 2 Alpine episodes and we don't get 2 Ferrari episodes and we don't get 2 McLaren episodes, I'm going to be annoyed.
I'll be livid if we get 2 Alpine episodes this year.
When McLaren and Ferrari could easily have like 3 episodes alone.
They could have 4 episodes each. They could you could literally have 2 episodes devoted to McLaren, one about Lando's first win and Oscar's first win, and then the second episode is about their charge up the ranks to lead the constructors
and
championships.
the papaya rules and the fighting.
Right.
And the team. Yeah.
Ferrari, you can have Charles and the whole Lewis signing, like all this stuff, the whole Carlos signing drama. Oh, and also their charge up the constructor standings to overtake Red Bull. Like, so much stuff. Like, it's
These
just
historic wins. Yeah, no, there's a lot.
Right, historic wins, Monaco and Monza. Like,
Which has been 6 months today since he's won Monaco. So
that hits a little bit different here in that too. Because like I said, we just watched the Charles Leclerc episode of Drive to Survive.
Yeah, right.
So it's hits a little bit different.
Because people were sharing his post-race interview again with Jensen, and like you hear Jensen getting a little choked up when he's like asking him the questions, and then Charles has to like step back and like totally compose himself, and you're just like, yeah, this hits different.
It hits different.
Who do you want to go with next?
Let's go. Jesus, I totally forgot that we had to cover Mercedes and Red Bull too. Let's do Mercedes because this is what we'll say about Mercedes. Great weekend for them. Fantastic. That was whose dream was it that they were leading the race? I literally was listening to it and they're like, "Oh, it's so good that they're doing this." It might be Ferrari, just because it's not McLaren.
Oh yeah.
But great weekend for them. Something about the cold weather makes those cars turn into rocket ships. You were spot on.
I was wrong with who got first, but
right. But sucks that George's win kind of got overlooked because of Max.
Okay, wait.
It is to be expected because it's the driver's champs and you're winning a race, but
someone made a great point. I don't remember who I saw, but someone made a great point saying all of George's wins have been overshadowed. Austria, you had Max and Lando part 1 where they crash in the corner, take each other out. Well, Max takes Lando out. Max continues and finishes the race.
Right.
Spa, George's wins, gets disqualified. Vegas, George wins. Max wins. George just needs one win where it doesn't get overshadowed. The poor man.
Focus is just solely on him.
Just solely on him. Yeah. I just want to point that out.
George.
But I mean, and also, I had a feeling Lewis Hamilton was going to be driving angry, and I mean, that man had the drive of his life.
Yeah, he had a great drive.
He took that shelf life comment and said, "Shove it up."
It's just, I still can't get over those fucking comments, man.
I know. Well, Toto did another interview. I don't have the quotes to pull up, but he backtracked real quick on those shelf life comments.
Of course, as he should. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yes, he should.
Yeah. But yes, Mercedes, Red Bull, obviously. Max did it. He's done it. Champion.
4-time
consecutive champion. And I feel like, honestly, did you hear his radio in the car when did you watch all the way? So go back and listen to it because I feel like if he gets asked about this like in the future, this championship might mean more, and because you hear the emotion in his voice in the radio when he's like coming around at the end because they let him park up next to the top 3.
Oh, have to, yeah.
Because they're like saying like you did it, like GP's like saying like this has been a tough but a great season, like all this stuff, and like, Max is going on like thanking everyone, but you can hear the emotion in his voice, so it like you just have that feeling.
I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, you have to listen to it. And then I posted the clip. I can send it to you. But someone asked Max, what would you tell younger Max?
Oh, I did see this.
This is such a good, like, and he's like, he wouldn't care because he wasn't worried about this kind of stuff. I'm like, that's such a good answer. But
it's a great answer. I really, I watched that clip and I really enjoyed it because I was like, I was like, some kid is going to watch that and be like, because it's true. It's at that age where we don't care about that stuff. We're literally just driving these things because we love it. And that's it. Yeah, no, it was a very good answer.
Yeah, obviously he didn't have to win the race to win it, but it was still a great race from him. Didn't have to worry about Lando. Well, he did. Lando did start right behind him at the beginning of the race, and I was like, oh no, here we go. But that McLaren struggled. Yeah, that McLaren struggled all weekend. So, But yeah, it's what a historical thing to see, and he's in good company, like I said, with Schumacher, Hamilton, Vettel, Prost, and who's going? Fangio.
Fangio,
Like
thank you.
Yeah,
I had
insane
Nigel Mansell in my
company.
head for some reason.
So did I. I honestly also did, but
and it kind of sucks because it's like with what we've seen throughout the past 10 years, 12 years of Formula One, even before we've been watching it, just with Lewis Hamilton dominance and then Max dominance, it's just like, I feel like it's kind of gotten a little bit expected that it's like when you win a championship, you're then going to come back and win it for multiple seasons after that and everything. And it's like, you just have to like remind yourself how hard that is to do. Like the ability to win a championship and then come back and all the rules that kind of are against you for that. You have the less amount of, the least amount of wind tunnel time, like stuff like that. Like, it's just like to then have that and then come back and do it again. And then in Max's case, do it again and then do it one more time for your fourth is insane, and the biggest criticism of Max has always been, oh, if he was in an equal car, people he wouldn't be winning when he was dominating by 20 something seconds last year.
Yeah, but this car, he was not the fastest car at all. Did you see his comment to Zach Brown?
Yeah, this car was not ahead of everybody else. This car, there was legitimate weekends sometimes where this car was one of the slower cars, and it's like the fact that he's still coming through and winning is huge, I did see the whole exchange between them a little bit.
So Brown said, it was like on Sky Sports, and it said, Zach Brown said, "You've earned it," before Verstappen replied. And like you said before, could win it in the fastest car. This year's been a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Max knows.
Max keeps those receipts.
Yeah.
But yeah. But yes, that was Vegas recap.
Great race. Vegas is 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want to go next year. It looks like it's insane. They have all like the fan engagement things going on. It looks really, really cool. F1 Threads Mailbag. Keep this short before we give our predictions. So this is from Chris. First question: is Lando's time next year?
Oh God. Okay, keep it quick. Yes and no. Strictly because Lando, I think, knows now that he can compete with Max, and I think his mentality will be 10 times different coming into next year. But you have other competitors like Charles, like Lewis, like Max, like Lando, like Oscar. Like, there's just so many people that could be a contender for P1 in drivers. So that's where the no factor of it comes
and if
in.
Red Bull finishes third in the constructors, that's more wind tunnel time for them. So God knows what they can do with that wind tunnel time.
Right.
I'm going to say yes and no as well because of the wind tunnel time. Also, I don't know if you saw this. Frey wrote like a 7-part thread post on Threads.
Oh, I have not.
It's so well written, and I think it's perfect to say that maybe, yes, next year is more of a shot because maybe going into this season, McLaren was like, yeah, we might have a chance, but they didn't expect to win however many races they won, leading the constructors, almost leading the drivers' championship at one point, being that close to winning both. And yes, they made mistakes, but this is the learning year. They take everything what they've learned, all the mistakes, all the papaya rules mistakes, and then they go into next year and put those things that they learned into place, and I think they will be 10 times better. So yeah, that's where I can say yes, I can see it being his time next year. From Casper. Oh, this wasn't from. I thought
Casper did put a question in.
Yeah, but I thought it was about what's it called?
Cadillac.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, this phrase was about Cadillac. So, so Casper's question: was this Max's last World Driver Championship? Why or why not? It's absolutely not.
No, I don't think it's not. I'm unsure if we'll see him win again next year, but I don't think it's his last Drivers' Championship now.
He's in Red Bull till what, 2028? Yeah, he's not. Yeah. He didn't just win 4 in a row and not winning. I don't think.
Yeah.
He's definitely winning, especially I could see it 2026. I know it's the new regs without Adrian Newey, but I have a feeling I could see them coming in strong again. And
that's not a bad put. Yeah.
and winning then. So I could see it then. Next one, Frey. Predictions on who's going to be driving for General Motors / Cadillac. I have 2 in mind. Can I give you?
Yes, please, because I have nobody.
So it's Cadillac GM with a heavy hand of Andretti. So I think we see Colton Herta, who's Andretti's golden boy over in IndyCar.
Oh, shit.
He was
you're
denied
right.
the super license points before. I think they finally give it to him this time, and they bring Colton Herta over to Formula One 2026 for Andretti. Now, people are like, Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo. No, I love them, but their time has come and gone, and there's so much young talent coming up that needs a shot. So is this where Franco goes? Maybe. It could be. There's also on Threads, her name is Lindsay. She made a great point. She's like, this might be a hot take, but Alex Albon, which I was like, wait, I kind of like that, because then you have a vet from IndyCar who'll be a rookie in F1, but has years and years of experience already.
Yeah.
With Andretti specifically. And then you have Alex Albon, who's had experience with Williams and Red Bull, so it's the top and the bottom, coming over. Could be a wealth of knowledge.
That's a good power team right there. Yeah. Oh, fuck, I don't know.
So that's
I like the Colton Herta pick. That's a good
Colton
pick.
Herta I feel like Colton Herta is a shoo-in at this point. Unless Andretti gets some new golden boy that comes up and is the star of the show the next few years. But I think I could see Colton Herta because he wanted to be in F1 before and had the super license problem. But yeah, I think he's a shoo-in.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that. I can't think of anybody else, so I'll stick with just Colton right now.
Yeah, obviously there's still so much time.
Yeah.
Someone else, his name is Raphael. This could be a longer question. We have talked about this before on like Checo's form and trying to understand why Red Bull are keeping him. Short answer, Red Bull's keeping him because of I want to say because of the money that he brings in, and when he's on it, and when he's on it, he is good. Like he is a good number 2 driver.
He is a great number 2 driver when he can do it.
Yeah.
You know.
So maybe there's to go out this season. They start with him next season. If he's bad from race 1, they only give him a few and then they kick him to the curb. I could see, but that's why. I mean, he brings in almost as much money as he gets paid. So why are you going to get rid of that? It's like paying for himself.
Yeah.
But yes, that was F1 Threads Mailbag. I knew we could keep it quick, but good answers. And they were good questions actually.
They were very good questions. Yeah.
They were good questions. Qatar.
Correct. Casey said it correct this time.
Because last year, if you listened to us last year, I struggled completely.
And it's so much simpler than you think.
Qatar, they moved it back a few weeks, so it's not going to be as hot as last year. If you need a reminder, this is last year. Logan had to retire early because he was almost passing out in the car.
Yep.
Esteban Ocon got sick a few times while he was driving. This race, they said, was the most physically demanding because it was so hot. This was also the race last year. Remember, Qatar had the issues with the curb. They were the pyramid curb, so they had to go 18 laps on certain tires, and then they had to switch or something. They had to take a pit stop.
Yes, yeah. I do remember this. Yeah, from last year.
So the issues have been quick. Hold on, let me pause. Dance with the Stars is coming on.
Oh, God.
To make sure, it's 3 hours. It's the season finale.
Oh my God!
I know, it's 3 hours. It is obviously still hot, but it's not as hot as last year. But it is, I think, going to be windy. They said.
Right.
I don't know if I put up the right location, but yeah, it looks pretty normal. Sprint and race. Someone posted on Threads.
Right, sprint weekend.
Yeah, last one. Someone posted on Threads saying, "What? If you didn't have the correct setup in Vegas, are you going to be screwed in Qatar?" And I responded, I was like, "No, because first of all, Vegas is a street circuit. Qatar is a traditional circuit, so the surfaces are going to be the same, and there's races on it all the time. You also have F2 and F1 Academy driving this weekend." Yep. So there's going to be multiple, it's going to be rubbered in before they even set foot on that track. the weather is going to be much warmer than it was in Vegas. Yes, it's going to be windy, and they're both in desert. So, yes, they're both going to be sandy or dusty. But I don't think that if McLaren's not talking about going into next weekend super strong if they just sucked in Vegas. So, obviously, the setups are completely different.
Yeah.
But, yes. Sprint and race. Whatever
Sprint.
I can go wherever you can go.
Well, no, I'm going to make it interesting.
Okay.
Sprint is going... Actually, my options are interchangeable.
Okay.
But they're going to play out this way is what I'll say.
Okay.
So it's either going to be... You know what? I'll just say it for each one because it makes it easier. Sprint, Charles, Lando, Oscar.
Oh.
Race, Lando, Charles, Oscar.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'll go.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with the Charles because, and I said this before, everyone's like, Ferrari's going to suck. Ferrari was supposed to suck in Austin, and look what happened.
Yep. At this point, I understand it's like track setups and everything, and like, yeah, they're constants. At this point, throw it all out the door. It's you got 2 races left in an already wild season. Throw all that we're supposed to suck at this track out the door.
Yeah. Okay. So for sprint, could be either or. So, but I'll go different than yours. So it's going to be Oscar, Charles, Lando.
Okay.
And then I think race is going to be Lando, Charles, Oscar.
Oh, okay. So we're going the same for race then.
Yeah, we're on the same for race. But I can also see it being a McLaren 1-2. And like Ferrari 3-4.
Nice. That'd be so nice if it's a McLaren 1-2.
And Oscar's just a little better at sprint races because he doesn't have to worry about tire deg completely. Yep. But if you look at the Pirelli thing and a box, like the tire life thing or whatever it says, that little thing, it's like at 5. It's the most it's ever had.
Yeah, they're going to be...
Tire deg's going to be awful, but...
Brutalized.
But yeah, okay. That'll be interesting.
I like it. It's going to be a great race, and I'm very excited for it.
Me too.
It's penultimate race of the season. It's amazed that we're here, but it's going to be good. It's going to be really
And last year, I think Qatar had like a ton of like track limits.
Yes, it did. It did have a lot of track limits.
I was reading up on the curb issue, and then I think it said like between turn 11 and 12, they had to like bring out the runoff zone a little bit more or take it back some because every single car was riding over.
Was going off, yeah.
Yeah. Qatar was a mess last year.
It's going to be
a mess.
I love the setup that we have for these last 2 races.
Me too, yeah. Well, even the last from Brazil on, they're insane races to go, like one after the other. But yes, do you have anything else you would like to add? This was a long one, but I had a feeling
this was a long one. Yeah, we had a lot to cover for this one. I do not have anything else left that.
All right, I can close this out. Thank you for joining us for episode 87 of F1 Underground. We will be back next week to recap Qatar and preview the season finale, Abu Dhabi. We are almost there. Yeah, we're almost there. So weird to think. I have no doubt that Qatar is going to be just as crazy as the last few races. But yes, we will be back next week. As always, please give us a like, comment, and subscribe over on like, comment, subscribe, but wherever you listen to your podcast. You were bad at the intro, I'm bad at the outro.
Listen, one and the same.
One and the same. This is why I've related people.
Yeah.
Also, go give us a follow over on Instagram at Threads at Underground F1 and over on Twitter or X at Underground_F1. Like I said, we will be back next week to recap Qatar. But until then, thanks for joining us.
See you later, people.
See ya.